Let's talk about Rich and Felicia in the season premiere of Love After Lockup. So I was surprised when they showed Rich's house and car. He's got himself a nice little place and nice little car. It seems like he has all his ducks in a row, so I'm really shocked that he had to go to prison to find a woman. But he claims that he had a dream and saw this woman, and then when he was scrolling through this pen pal website, he saw that woman. So he thinks this is like meant to be. This is like a sign from the universe. And Felicia admitted that really when she was on the site, all she was doing was looking for a sugar daddy. But she ended up falling in love with Rich because he was probably one of the few attractive men that actually wrote her. Rich gets in his car and he starts driving towards the prison. He has to drive all the way from Texas to Louisiana to see Felicia. And I'm not going to lie, at times I forget that they're going to be long distance. For some reason I thought they were closer than that, but that's going to be hard sitting there trying to juggle a relationship states away, especially when she's been locked up all this time. I feel like she's going to get out and she's going to get bored with the long distance relationship quick. And anyways, he ends up driving towards the prison and she calls him and he answers the phone, and he made his voice deep as hell when he answered that phone. He's like, hello. I don't know why some guys do that, but then he went right back to talking to his normal voice right after that. And Felicia was like, yeah, I'm about to get out. Do you think you're going to be able to handle my family? So Felicia's going to have Rich and her family there to pick her up. And Rich is all stressed out about how things are going to work out because I guess her family is, I think, Italian, they said, and Sicilian. So he's scared how they're all going to mesh together. Then they do a little interview with Felicia. And one thing that drives me crazy about is when they do these jail interviews or video calls. I've noticed this with all video calls. It's always constantly focusing and zooming in nonstop, so you can't ever get like a straight, clear picture of the person talking. But anyways, Felicia was sitting there telling producers that I guess they restricted her visits, so she has not been able to meet Rich or see anybody. I'm very curious if that's just restrictions specifically for the prison as a whole or specifically for Felicia, because I did a lot of research trying to see if I could find where people were talking about her prison having restricted visits. And from what I found, as of currently, you're allowed to have a few visits a month for a few hours at a time, unless that person that is trying to visit you, I guess if they've been convicted of certain crimes, like if they've been convicted of possession of drugs or explosives, they're not allowed to come visit you. And I know that Rich has been busted with a misdemeanor marijuana possession in Texas, and yeah, it's a misdemeanor, so I don't know where they draw the line, but that may have been a reason why Rich wasn't able to see Felicia. Because of that, they may have held that against him, or maybe they did have restrictions. But I also know that if you get in trouble in prison, like if you have visits and get caught having somebody try to bring you in contraband like drugs or something you're not supposed to have, or if you start flashing people or doing sexual stuff during your visit, then they're going to take away your visit. So I wonder if she got them taken away or if they just restricted them because, I don't know, maybe they were on lockdown or something like that. But I couldn't find any information that was talking about that. Usually you can at least find some kind of Facebook or Reddit post or something where a loved one is complaining about stuff like that if they are unable to visit their loved ones in a prison. Then we see Rich. He went and met up with some of Felicia's family at this restaurant before they all got together to pick her up from her release. It seemed like they all got along pretty well. Felicia has this cousin that she was really close with as a child, and they've been close since then. And her cousin kind of have some in common because they both gotten in trouble as adults. I guess her cousin went to prison for a few years and now she's changed her life around and she wants to be a positive role model for Felicia. And so Rich was pretty welcome to the family. It seemed like they all really liked him. Some of them were like, hey, we got to get to know him a little more before we make a final judgment. And then the big day was finally there. Rich and some of Felicia's family all went down to pick up Felicia from the prison. They're all waiting there. They're excited. And then finally, Felicia comes out. She walks out and she's walking real slow. And her family, her cousin and someone else just ran up to Felicia and jumped on her and picked her up and spun her around. Kind of like what we would expect Rich to do. Like, I thought Rich was going to be the person to run up to her and give her the first hug. And I did see some people, like, kind of call out her family members for running up to her and wanting to be the first to hug her. But that's your family. I feel like family should come first before a girlfriend. Like, if I'm getting released from prison and I got like my mom and my brother and sister and my cousins there, and I got some guy that I've been talking to for 6 months that I never met in person, yeah, I'm gonna want to hug on my mom and my sisters and my family first. They've been there since I was a freaking baby, and then after that I can hug on Rich. And Rich was being nice and respectful of it, and I think it's adorable because you can really tell how much Rich loves Felicia, because he's constantly smiling anytime anybody talks about her, brings her up, or just the fact that she's walking out of prison. He was so excited. Like, he smiles about Felicia the way that any girl would want their man to smile about them. And I like that. You can tell that he really likes her. I just am curious if Felicia feels the same way. I don't know. I just feel like they're going to struggle with the whole long distance relationship. Let me know what you guys think about these two. Do we think that they're going to last from what we heard about them so far? I'm very curious. Like, if I had to give them a timestamp, I'd probably give them 3 weeks from what I've heard about the both of them and them trying to juggle the long distance relationship. I feel like after a few weeks, Felicia's going to be over it, and she's going to want to find something else, or she's going to want to live her best single life. I'm scared that Felicia's going to want to start trying to look for reasons to get out of the relationship, because that's kind of what it seems like when they were showing in the teaser, her pulling up his mugshot and confronting him with his mugshot. Like, I understand being upset that he didn't tell you the full truth, but come on, I mean, she literally just got doing 9 years in prison, and he got in trouble for misdemeanor marijuana. I want to be making that big of a deal over it. I mean, I'd be upset, but I don't think it's like breakup worthy like they're kind of making it seem like in the clip that they showed. I don't know, for some reason her storyline just kind of remind me of Brainwin. You know, when Brainwin was supposed to move for Chaz, or not Chaz, was it Chaz? Yeah, Chaz. And then last minute she started coming up with all these excuses on why she couldn't move. I kind of feel like Felicia's going to do the same thing, because eventually one of them is going to have to move, and I do not see it being Felicia, with her having all her friends and family from Louisiana. So unless Rich is ready to leave Texas, then I don't know where their future is going to stand. But then again, it is still too early to tell, so I'm curious to see where things go this season. But you guys let me know what you think about everything in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.